What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Zenless Zone Zero guide. Now, I didn't realize that Deadly Assault was going to reset before 1.4 ended, but we actually had the reset today. So I'm going to be giving you a guide on what teams to use, what the buffs are, and my just general recommendations. Now, the good thing with Deadly Assault is that if you only care about the Polychrome, you only need 6 out of the 9 stars that are available. After that, it's just some extra merits and Denny's, basically just bragging rights like what I did here. So if you want to get 2 stars on each, if you want to max out 3 on just 2 of the bosses and not have to worry about the last one, basically any way that you add it up, you really only need around 6 stars. For our first boss, we have Sacrifice Bringer. So he's weak to ice and resistant to physical. So I would avoid characters like Jane Doe or Piper and mainly focus on Miyabi if you have her, or Ellen potentially. And you're like, David, why are you using the free-to-play Miyabi team? Well, I initially used Bernice and Lucy and I had 46,000 total score. I was like, yeah, we can definitely save Bernice and Lucy for a different team to get some other points. So that's why I'm using the free-to-play team. Going over the details, when you inflict an attribute anomaly or disorder on the boss, all squad members gain 1 stack of laser focus, which can stack up to 6 times. With each stack of laser focus, you get a crit rate increase of 5%. So at max, we can get a 30% crit rate bump, which is pretty nice. When having at least 3 stacks, inflicting an attribute anomaly will increase its duration by 5 seconds. And when Bringer attacks with his sacrificial knife, all squad members' laser focus stacks will reset. The second part is that when you successfully interrupt a chant, which is where the big hand comes out of the ground, you need to stop it before he pulls out the big sword. Basically, if you interrupt that, you'll get 2,000 performance points at a maximum of 5,000. So as you can see, I have 4,000 points, which means I stopped 2 hands. So basically, once you stop 3 of those hands, you're not going to get any more points from stopping it. You're going to have to focus on dealing damage, which obviously, the more attribute anomalies and disorders you proc, the more damage you're going to be able to do overall. Which means the buff I would recommend is Graceful Mastery, the first one here. So it increases your agent anomaly builder rate by 25% and anomaly proficiency by 40. When an enemy suffers an attribute anomaly, agents recover 500 additional decibels, which means we can get the ult faster, and attack increases by 30% for 15 seconds. And this can be triggered once every 15 seconds. And obviously, this is going to be a great one overall. So for team recommendations, since all you really need to do here is trigger attribute anomaly and disorder, Miyabi, Bernice, Yanagi, characters that can trigger those things are obviously going to be good here, but you may want to potentially use a character like Ellen to get the extra damage in, but you're going to have to pair her up with characters that can build up anomaly fairly quickly, or at least have some decent drive disc that can do that as well. For the second boss, we have the autonomous assault unit, Typhon Destroyer, who's weak to electric and resistant to fire. So I went with the Yanagi mono electric team with Seth, Rena, and the Plug Boo. And the reason I went with Seth is because of the enemy details. Agents inflict overwhelm when landing a defensive hit against a boss enemy, and 3 stacks of overwhelmed when accumulating 3 defense assist hits will trigger what's called impaired. Each stack of overwhelm increases daze by 15% and chain attack and ultimate damage taken while stunned by 10%. The enemy will fix the impaired parts and reset the impairment level while charging, and will reset its overwhelm stacks after recovering from a stun. And the second part here, successfully impairing an enemy grants 600 performance points at a maximum of 5,000. Now, the weird thing about this boss is that every single one of his attacks are only dodgeable up until the attack right after he launches the missiles. That's when you can perform the defense assist, and he actually does 3 of those in a row, which means you can get all 3 stacks of overwhelmed and then stun him, impair him, get that extra damage in, use your chain attack, use your ultimate, basically just go crazy until he comes back. Now, the buff I chose was the middle one, Swift Resolution, but I also think the one on the right, Overthrow, isn't a bad option. But the reason I chose this one is because I wanted more damage overall. So agent attack increases by 20%, decibel generation rate increases by 20% as well. Upon launching an ultimate, agent attack increases by an additional 15% for 15 seconds, ultimate damage increases by 40%, daze dealt increases by 20%, and anomaly buildup increases by 20%. Basically, you get bonuses all across the board with this one. I would say for your teams, obviously electric is, going to be good because when you perform shock and disorder, it'll actually stun him out of his attacks. But as long as you stay away from fire characters, you should be good to go. The 2 main things I would recommend is that make sure you have characters that can perform a defense assist. And number 2, if you wanted to have a stun character, potentially like, Ambi, Qingyi, Lycon, if you want to do something like that, just so you can stun them a little bit quicker, you totally can do that as well. And for our last boss, we have the Dead End Butcher, who's weak to ice and ether and resistant to no damage type. So that's why I went with my Jane, Bernice, and Lucy team here. And you're like, David, why'd you do that? Why didn't you use Ellen or Zhu Yuan? To be honest, I did, and I tried, and I just wasn't putting enough damage in because the enemy details on this guy are kind of tough. When he's not stunned, the boss gains 1 stack of All or Nothing every 6 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. Each stack of All or Nothing increases the damage dealt by the boss enemy by 10%, which means he can do 30% more damage to us. When an agent attack hits an enemy, the agent's crit damage increases by 25% for each stack of All or Nothing the target has. So if the target has 3 stacks, our crit damage gets a 75% bump, which is pretty nice. All or Nothing stacks will be reset when the enemy recovers from being stunned. The second part here, which I found annoying, and why I had to use Jane kinda, is successfully triggering a perfect dodge grants 150 performance points, maximum of 5,000. Now with this boss, I will say more than half of his attacks are blockable a majority of the time, especially if you stun him and he comes out of it, he's gonna start with those blockable attacks. So that's why I just automatically went with Jane, so I didn't have to worry about him doing 700 follow-ups to hitting me. The weird thing with the enemy details is that you don't necessarily want to, fully stun this guy. You don't want to build up that daze meter right off the bat because you want to be able to deal more crit damage to get more points. Basically, this is probably the tougher one out of the other 2 bosses because you need to be able to dodge those hits. You don't necessarily want to do a defense assist either because that will still build up the daze meter. Now for your buff, I would recommend either Graceful Mastery if you decide to go with, the Anomaly team like I did. The middle one isn't too bad for just basic damage increases, ultimate, daze increase, anomaly increase. This one's a good one as well. I would stay away from the one on the right because we don't necessarily want to stun that guy as quickly as possible. If you decided not to use Miyabi on the first one and you used Ellen, she would be a good option here as well. But if you have a good Ellen or G-Wen setup, I would try testing that one out first. But for me, I had to go with the ultimate Jane team for this one, just so I could get those dodges in to get at least a couple of extra points. I'll quit yapping and we'll dive into the gameplay. As a shameless plug, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that bell next to notifications so you don't miss out on any other content here we're dropping on the channel.
My blade is already sheathed. Victory, the only option.
There we go, that's what I was waiting for.
Eliminating target. Shadowless blade. This won't hurt much. Full power. Bye-bye, suckers. Boom! Purging slash. Yeah. Yeah. Huh? My blade is already sheathed. It's over. I swear on my blade. Fracture. The cold is silent. Locked on target. Time to wrap things up. Let me give you a little treat, like this. It's over. Thunder.
Mighty creator, please refine me!
Purging slash.
Oh, I probably should have used the other thing there. That's okay.
Weakling.
Why am I under the ground? What happened? So initially I used Miyabi, Bernice, and Lucy, and I got like 40k points, and I'm like, yeah, we can save those two for, you know, these other two bosses.
The attack.
Watch out!
Perfect timing. Surrender.
No use!
Weak spot located. Don't be scared.
You've had your chance! You asked for it!
Dance, dance! Let's not disappoint our customers! Mind and body. In pursuit. Waste of time. A close call. Yep. We press on. Here we go.
You've had your chance!
Press the attack. Such provocations don't go unanswered.
Your crime won't be forgiven! Let's try again.
You cannot stop me. Surrender. In pursuit. Don't be afraid. It won't hurt. Resistance futile. Attack incoming.
I should have blocked that one.
Not bad!
Press the attack. Ready and waiting.
Justice will prevail!
One critical device. Mind and body.
Prepare to face judgment!
Go now, Janet. In pursuit. Kindly fall into despair. Surrender. Press the attack.
Alright, that went a little smoother than I thought. It's just really weird because the only time he has that blockable attack is right after the missiles. So if you stun him, you can't get the impair, so it's definitely a little weird.
Have Heads up. I'll make it painless. Now, you're the prey.
Don't play.
Hit him where it hurts.
I didn't mean to stun him if I'm being honest with you.
Just give up.
A beautiful shooting star.
Careful. It's back. The final act begins now.
This party is just getting started. Hey.
Found your weakness.
I dodged that, but alright, man.
Now, you're the prey.
Once more.
Careful. I bite.
This one. I'm ready to play the battle.
Okay, we hit the 20k threshold. I'm not gonna lie, I did not do a lot of dodges there. At the end of the day, with this one, like, yeah, you can dodge, but you need the damage. And my other characters that I had did not have the damage. I was like, oh yeah, I can dodge a lot, it'll be fine. But half this guy's attacks are
Let's make this
mostly
quick.
parries.
Here's a taste
So it feels
of the
really
abyss.
weird.
Found your weakness.
Yeah, still smoked him. I just had to switch the teams up because initially when I used Miyabi on the first boss, I got like 40k points. I'm like, yeah, I can save Bernice and Lucy for another team. In any event, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that bell next to notifications so you don't miss out on any Zenless Zone Zero content we're coming out with here on the channel. We also live stream here on YouTube and also over on Twitch. That link will be in the description. So no matter what game I'm playing, if you want to come hang out, come drop by the chat. And if you want to join my community, be sure to join my Discord. Again, that link will also be in the description. We have people talking about Zenless Zone Zero on top of a variety of other games, PC tech, anime, and more. And lastly, if you want to help support the channel even more, you can look into becoming a member. Now, if you don't know what a membership is, it's essentially like a Twitch subscription. It's technically cheaper than a Twitch subscription, but you do get exclusive emotes and monthly badges, and the big benefit, which is getting access to all of my long form videos early. So if you would like more information, all you have to do is press the join button next to subscribe, and that'll give you a rundown with all the details you need. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been your boy. We'll catch you in the next video.
Shadowless blade.
Time to clean the field.